Time now for a check of the top business news stories. I'm joined by Cole Stangler. Hi there, Cole.
Hey, Tom.
Let's begin with an update on plans for an overhaul of how the world's largest corporations are taxed.
That's right, Tom. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development has been working on this, and while they won't have a full agreement ready this year, the group says it's making progress and plans to send its latest proposal to G20 finance ministers meeting this week. If agreed to, the plan would dramatically alter the way that global multinationals are taxed, raising an extra $100 billion in revenue worldwide. The first pillar involves taxing companies based on the location of their customers as opposed to where the firm is registered. The second pillar would see the creation of a global minimum corporate tax rate. The measures are designed to clamp down on the use of tax havens, with the OECD hoping to implement the changes by the middle of next year. The United States has expressed opposition to the current direction of talks, but as observers note, that could change depending on the outcome of next month's elections. Next up, a major reshuffle is underway at British Airways. Earlier today, the firm announced CEO Alex Cruz is out the door after more than 4 years on the job. Comes after a first-half operating loss of some 4 billion euros as the airline grappled with lockdowns and travel bans and oversaw 12,000 job cuts. Cruz had also been heavily criticized by unions over what they called a, quote, fire and rehire strategy, pushing employees to accept downgraded work standards. He's set to be replaced by Sean Doyle, the current boss of Irish carrier Aer Lingus. Now let's take a look now at some of the day's trading action to kick off the week. Some slight gains on most of the European indexes so far. As you can see there, slight gains on the DAX, on the CAC 40 here in Paris as well. The FTSE, meanwhile, trading just below the flatline. Shares for British Airways holding company IAG were down earlier. Now, Wall Street, on the other hand, seeing actually some more comfortable gains there. The S&P up more than 1.5% gains on the Dow Jones as well, around 1%. Investors optimistic that a long-awaited stimulus plan may finally get the green light in Washington. Next up, this year's Nobel Prize in Economics has been awarded, and Americans Paul Milgrom and Robert Wilson have taken home the honor for their work on commercial auction theory. Ellen Gainsford has the details.
A bang of the gavel, and the winning bid is decided. Auctions have been used for centuries as a way to trade, and they underpin the global economy in ways you might not expect.
Auctions are used broadly. They're used in society to determine electricity prices, which are the heating bills. They are determining the price of purchasing services for localities who want to remove trash removal.
The research of Nobel winners Paul Milgrom and Robert Wilson has helped make auctions work more efficiently, tackling problems like the winner's curse, which can cause buyers to scale back their offers if they worry about overpaying. Their solution is for the seller to provide as much information as possible before the bidding begins. The pair's findings have been applied to fields from online advertising to 5G networks.
Something that I've been working on the last few years with my company, Auctionomics, has to do with the allocation of resources for 5G radio spectrum. Those are really complicated transactions, and they were beyond the reach of traditional economic models. So we created new models to make that work.
In the telecommunications industry, private companies seek licenses from the government to use publicly owned radio frequencies. In 1994, the US government switched to auctions to sell the rights to these frequencies. Milgrom and Wilson helped design a format allowing all the licenses to be sold in one go. Their model raised $617 million and was copied by countries from Canada to India.
And finally, worries are growing over delays to the EU stimulus plan. While European leaders agreed to a €750 billion package earlier this year, it still needs sign-off from Parliament and from national legislatures. Tensions remain over how to finance the plan, as well as making aid conditional on countries respecting the rule of law, something both Poland and Hungary have pushed back against. Earlier today, French Finance Minister Bruno Le Maire underlined the need to sort out the details and get the aid out. Take a listen.
La crise économique continue de toucher tous les pays européens. Elle est très dure, elle est très violente. Elle crée du chômage dans beaucoup de pays européens, elle crée des faillites. Nous avons besoin de la solidarité européenne et donc nous avons besoin que le plan de relance européen se mette en place sans délai, comme les chefs d'État et de gouvernement européens s'y sont engagés au niveau du Conseil il y a quelques semaines.
Tom, we'll see if there's any progress on this later in the week. EU leaders kicking off a two-day summit in Brussels that starts on Thursday.
Okay, well, thank you very much indeed for that. Cole Stangler for today's business news update.